In a small town surrounded by dusty roads and golden fields, there lived a boy named Ion. He was 16 years old, tall for his age, with sharp eyes and a mind full of dreams. But there was one problem. Ion complained about everything. If the weather was hot, he complained about the heat. If it rained, he complained about the mud. If school gave homework, he complained about teachers. If there was no homework, he complained about boredom. No matter what happened, Ion always found something wrong. His parents worked hard to provide for him. His father was a mechanic who spent long hours fixing broken motorcycles. His mother stitched clothes for neighbors to support the family. They never complained. They simply worked. But Ion didn't see their struggle. All he saw were the things he didn't have. "I wish we were rich," he would say. "I wish I had a better phone. I wish life was easier." One evening, after complaining about his old bicycle for the 100th time, his father quietly said, "If you keep looking at what you don't have, you will never enjoy what you do have." Ion rolled his eyes. He had heard such lectures before. The unexpected journey. A few days later, Ion's school announced a community service project. Students were required to spend a week helping in a nearby village affected by floods. Ion hated the idea. "Why should I go?" he argued. "It's hot, dirty, and pointless." But attendance was mandatory. The next Monday, Ion boarded the school bus, annoyed and frustrated. After a 2-hour drive, they reached the village. What he saw shocked him. Houses were broken. Some were only piles of bricks. Children walked barefoot in muddy streets. Families lived in temporary tents made from plastic sheets. Ion felt uncomfortable, but still, he complained inside. "This place is terrible," he muttered. Their teacher assigned tasks. Ion's group had to distribute food packages and help clean debris. At first, he worked lazily. He dragged his feet and wiped sweat from his face dramatically. "This is exhausting," he said every 5 minutes. Then something happened. The smile that changed him. While carrying a box of food supplies, Ion met a little boy, maybe 8 years old, standing near a broken wall. The boy's clothes were old and dusty, but his eyes sparkled with curiosity. "Is that for us?" the boy asked politely. "Yes," Ion replied. The boy took the small food packet and smiled as if he had received treasure. "Thank you, Baya," he said brightly. Ion was confused. It was just rice, flour, and some lentils. Nothing special. "Where is your house?" Ion asked. The boy pointed to the broken bricks behind him. "It was there. And your things?" "Gone," the boy answered simply. "But it's okay. Ami says we are lucky because we are alive." Lucky. The word echoed in Ion's mind. How could someone who lost everything call himself lucky? A new perspective. Throughout the week, Ion kept noticing things. He saw a mother cooking food over a small fire with a calm face. He saw children laughing while playing with a broken ball. He saw an old man helping rebuild his neighbor's wall, even though his own house was damaged. No one complained. They had lost homes, furniture, clothes, even memories. Yet they were grateful for what remained. On the 3rd day, Ion sat beside the little boy again. His name was Samir. "Don't you feel angry?" Ion asked. "Why?" Samir replied. "Because you lost everything." Samir thought for a moment. "If I cry all day, will my house come back?" Ion shook his head. "If I complain, will Allah rebuild it faster?" "No." Samir smiled gently. "Then why waste time? I can either be sad or help Abu rebuild." Ion had no answer. The mirror of truth. That night, Ion couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about his life. He had a solid house. He had loving parents. He had food every day. He had school, books, clothes. Yet he complained constantly. Samir had nothing compared to him, and still smiled. For the first time, Ion felt ashamed. He realized something painful. Complaining had become his habit. It was easier to complain than to appreciate. Easier to blame life than to improve it. The next morning, Ion worked differently. He lifted heavy bricks without grumbling. He cleaned mud from floors with focus. When the sun burned his skin, he stayed silent. His classmates noticed the change. "What happened to you?" one joked. Ion simply smiled. A lesson from the old man. On the final day, an elderly villager called him over. "You look thoughtful," the old man said. "I learned something," Ion admitted. "I used to complain about small things. The old man nodded. Complaining is like sitting in a rocking chair. It keeps you busy but takes you nowhere. Ion laughed softly. Life will always have problems, the old man continued. But gratitude gives you strength. Complaining steals it. Those words felt powerful. Returning home. When Ion returned home, everything looked different. The same small house. The same old bicycle. The same simple dinner. But this time, he saw blessings instead of problems. His mother served dal and roti. Instead of saying, "Is this all?" he said, "It smells delicious." His mother looked surprised. The next day, his bicycle chain slipped while riding to school. Normally, he would have cursed loudly. Instead, he calmly fixed it. Slowly, his attitude changed. When friends complained about exams, he focused on studying. When weather was hot, he drank water and moved on. When things went wrong, he asked, "What can I do about it?" Instead of, "Why does this happen to me?" Life didn't suddenly become perfect. But Ion became stronger. The real test. Months later, his father's workshop caught fire due to an electrical short circuit. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but many tools were destroyed. This time, it was a serious problem. Neighbors gathered, whispering about losses. Ion saw worry in his father's eyes. For a moment, the old habit tried to return. Why does this always happen to us? His mind whispered. But he remembered Samir's words. If I complain, will it fix anything? Instead of complaining, Ion took action. He helped clean the burnt area. He created a small online fundraiser with his friends' help. He worked part-time after school to support his father. He encouraged his parents, saying, "We can rebuild. At least we are safe." His father looked at him proudly. "You have grown," he said quietly. Within weeks, the community helped them recover. The workshop reopened, smaller but functional. That night, Ion sat on the roof, looking at the stars. Life still had challenges, but he no longer saw himself as unlucky. He felt grateful. A message he shared. A year later, during a school assembly, Ion was invited to give a speech about personal growth. He stood on stage, nervous but confident. "I used to complain about everything," he began honestly. "I thought life was unfair to me." Students laughed softly. "Then I met people who had lost everything but still smiled. I learned something important. Complaining doesn't change life. Action does. Gratitude does." He paused. When we complain, we focus on what is missing. When we are grateful, we see what is present. And when we act, we improve what is possible. The hall became silent. Life is not perfect for anyone. But if we spend our time complaining, we waste the power we have to make it better. He ended with a simple line. Stop complaining about life. Start building it. The applause was loud. The real transformation. Years later, Ion would look back at that week in the flood-affected village as the turning point of his life. It wasn't money that changed him. It wasn't success. It was perspective. He learned that complaining makes problems feel bigger. Gratitude makes the heart stronger. Action makes life better. And most importantly, happiness is not about having everything. It is about appreciating something.